I mean, we're hopeful to. I have some ideas and some plans I'd like to do, but there's just no guarantee that we can do. We need to find good training partners. We always are trying to make fireworks. Every summer we try to do something that's unique and special, and we will definitely try this summer.
I could see that possibly happening. Acquiring more assets. I could see giving up our assets, our young assets, and some draft picks for players as well. And everywhere in between.
We need to be good because we all want to be good. I want my coach to stay. I want Jeff Green to want to be here. I want free agents that are out there looking at us play to want to play here. I want fans to want to come to the game. Everybody wants to win, but not just for one player, not just for one person. We all want to win, and that's what we're trying to accomplish.
Garden Report Part 2. Let's look forward now. Let's start with free agency. Danny Ainge, maybe it'll be fireworks, maybe it'll just be 4th of July. But maybe signing guys is a very small little Roman candle. Avery Bradley's the big one, though.
Jeez.
And I'm trying so hard with the
You're
puncher.
trying really hard.
I'm all
Too
pumped
hard.
out at this
Possibly
point.
excessively hard, yeah.
So Avery Bradley is a restricted free agent.
Yep.
He was hurt for a little bit. I mean, he was hurt throughout the
22
season.
games this
but
year,
then the end of the season, that's where things were concerning. Comes back and has a few good games to close out the year. So he shows he can still ball. So what's his value right now? What do the Celtics offer him? What do the Celtics match on? Evan, start with you.
Well, I mean, I don't know the exact math about what the qualifying offer is, but I mean, they'll give him the qualifying offer they can give him, and they'll look to keep him. I don't think we'll see him anywhere else next season besides Boston. I think that he has more value to the Celtics right now than to anybody else in the league. I don't even see him signing an offer sheet elsewhere. I just don't think there's anybody out there waiting to throw $8, $9, $10 million at Avery Bradley. The Celtics like him. The Celtics think that he's a part of their future they can build with. I mean, he's one of the best perimeter players in the league defensively. He has improved his shooting. I mean, he's done a lot of things to make the Celtics a better team. I think he's a really good guy along with Rondo and Selger to build around in the future. I think he's going to be back, and I hope he is.
I mean, he can't really improve much more as a defender. We can agree on that.
Yes.
He can improve as an offensive player, but I don't know how much more he can improve as an offensive player. So if you like what you saw out of Avery Bradley this year, that's probably what you're going to get out of him most likely every year. So you got to ask yourself, are you okay with him missing 10, 15 games a year? Because it's not to say that he's injury prone, but he is in the sense because that's how he plays the game. You know, he's just an aggressive guy. He's in your face on both ends of the court. His defense does take away from his offense, and that's just what you're going to get. So if you're fine with that, then fine. I agree with you. I don't think there's a team out there is going to give him $8 million, and I don't think the Celtics are going to give him $8 million. But I wonder how many years he's going to want, because he might want to maybe prove guys like me wrong and say, I can't play 82. I can improve my scoring. I don't want to sign a long-term deal and sort of handcuff myself. I want to sign a 2-year deal, and
I can see that.
I'm young enough where I can, do those 2 years, get my value back up there, and then sign a much bigger deal. So I wonder if that's the route that both those sides take. That's pretty much what I think.
You might even want a 1-year deal and take advantage of the litany of cap space that'll be available in 2015.
You might, but I think there's a little more maybe security. You might want a little more security than a 1-year deal. But I see your point.
So a 2-year, $12 million deal would be fine, right? $6 million a year.
Celtics would. I think they would.
I think
definitely
he's
do that.
getting more than that.
Yeah.
But what about 2 years, 16?
I think that's closer. I mean, 15, 16.
Depends. I'm sure Ainge doesn't.
I mean, more than 2 years wouldn't.
Ainge doesn't want to be handing out big contracts for that second year. I think he's still looking to have a lot of cap space for that second year. So I don't know if $8 million for that year is going to do it.
Well, he's got Wallace through 2016, right?
Yes.
Probably try to get rid of that.
And we'll see what happens with Rondo. I mean, he's through 2015 so far, but who knows?
Right.
Okay, well,
it's going to be in that range, though.
Yeah.
But
we can agree.
We agree on the general, yeah.
Yeah, 7. Let's say 7.
So that doesn't leave much room for Chris Humphries. And Chris Humphries is already at a position where there's 3 other very capable guys. And he's
right
probably
now.
the most preferable of all those guys right now, besides Jared Sullinger. But really?
Kelly Olynyk is a lot younger with a lot more potential to get better.
I'm talking about right now, for the upcoming season. You would rather have Chris Humphries than Kelly Olynyk, wouldn't you?
I mean, I reject your question. I think when you're the Celtics, you got to think about the long term. How are we going to be better in 3 years?
Yeah, right.
I think that
Well, you're not going to be offering Chris Humphries a 4-year contract.
Correct.
And that's the point of this discussion. So what would you offer Chris Humphries, or would you offer him anything at all? Because he's an unrestricted free agent.
I would lowball the heck out of him because I don't think you need him. I don't think he's the kind of... I mean, he's a good player. I don't have anything against the guy, but I don't think he's the kind of guy you need to build around when you already have younger players who have the potential to be far better than Humphries down the road. I mean, Kelly Olynyk in 2 years could be far, far better than Chris Humphries. Could be. I'm not saying...
It's a good chance.
Different
It's a good
players.
chance.
I just think that when you're a young rebuilding team like the Celtics, Chris Humphries is not the kind of guy you throw money at. I don't think he fits with what they're trying to do. Nothing against him. I think he could be a much more valuable player. He's the opposite of Avery Bradley. I said Bradley's got more value to the Celtics than anybody else. I think Humphries has value to a team that's good right now and contending right now and needs one more good role player. You know, Humphries, I can't think about the top of my head who it would be, but
I just think it's too soon to say. I mean, we need to see who the Celtics draft. I mean, you know, we need to see a few things play out. As of right now, no, you're right. He just doesn't fit he doesn't fit perfectly into this team. But who's to say the Celtics don't trade Olynyk? I mean, the way he's played over the past 5 or 6 games, he's kind of pumped up his trade value a little bit. You know, I can see him being involved in a trade and getting something in return. So if they do trade some of the young guys, if Sellinger goes in a big blockbuster deal for Kevin Love, and now
he's also a power forward.
Right, but now you need that backup guy like Humphries maybe to come in there.
Brandon Bass.
Yeah, nobody's named the Red Auerbach Award winner Brandon Bass.
Brandon Bass is a very tradable contract heading into his expiring deal, so he's another guy that could be. That's what I'm thinking. Like,
He's also a Red Auerbach Award winner.
Right, so that pumps up his trade value even more.
Oh my God, so much.
The Red Auerbach Awards worth so much to the rest of the league. Obviously.
So much.
I mean, I like Humphries. I like what he can bring to the team. I think that if he got more playing time, you would have saw his averages obviously go up higher. I mean, he is a double-double guy. I mean, he's proved he's averaged that up in the league. You know, he's proved that he can put up those numbers given the time. I like the attitude. I like what he brings to the court, on and off the court. Actually, he wants to be back. I mean, there's not a lot of guys who say that, and
everybody says that.
But I think he actually means it. I mean, he's talked to Danny Ainge about it. Ainge has basically told him what I just said is it's too soon. They're not going to tell him either way what's going to happen because they don't know what's going to happen. So, honestly, I would be completely fine seeing 15 different players in the Celtics next year. There's nobody on the team that I'm married to.
Well, and if you're Rondo, you would be fine if Rondo was gone next year?
Depends on who they get. I mean, if they were talking about trading him to Houston, and it depends on who you can get back. Yeah. I mean, is Rondo untradeable? No, of course not.
I don't think anybody's untradeable from any team. I'm with you.
Well, there's a couple players, but this team in general. I mean, you're talking about bringing Avery back. You're talking about bringing Bayless back. Like, you can't just bring everybody back. You can't just get the band back together and have another 30, 35 win season. That's just not how it's going to work.
Yeah, it depends who's out there in the draft and in trades. I mean, it all depends.
Right.
Okay, so who's out there in the draft? So there's the top 3. I think we could all agree that as long as they have a top 3 pick, they're pretty set for the future. They're getting a franchise cornerstone. And if you disagree, you can quickly retort that.
That's fine.
Okay, so let's say they have the
cornerstone's a lot, but go on.
Okay, so right now they're tied for 4th in the lottery standing. Let's say they have the 4th pick.
Okay.
You can choose from Julius Randle, Dante Exum, all these guys. Jimmy, who would you prefer to have at the 4th pick for the Celtics?
So I can't take Embiid?
No. Who knows? Maybe he gets red flags and drops to 22 or drops to 17, and the Celtics take him there.
The next Sellinger.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I don't know a lot about Exum. I've heard that he's
nobody does, right?
Right. Yeah, he's a bigger guard. He's quick. He's fast. He's all this stuff. Smart. I've seen Smart. I think he's a little bit of a loose cannon. He can score, but do they need a guard? I mean, do they want to go that route? And then, how's Rondo going to react to that? Does that help his trade value with them? Does that hurt his trade value? So I don't know. I don't know that Randall. We already talked about all the power forwards they have.
Yeah.
So what about Von Lee? Noah Von Lee.
Is he big enough to be a
center? Is
center?
that a reach at 4? If you need,
it is a bit of a reach at 4, and they could trade down, of course.
Right. Well, that was my next point. If that's a reach at 4, then do you trade down a few spots? Maybe nab him at 7 or 8 or wherever he falls. Because Brad Stevens has said that they need a big guy. We all know they need a big guy. They need a shot blocker. They need a big guy. He's a 7-footer, correct? I mean, he's not Embiid, and I would love to have Embiid. Assuming he's healthy. But I mean, if take the second best big man at that spot. Maybe
Minnesota wants Julius Randle, and
that's true too. I mean, if you flip the pick in a deal for love, if they want something like that.
Just an idea.
And that marries the trading and the drafting there. So,
right.
And that was my exact next question. So if you have the 4th pick, and Julius Randle's right there, do you call Minnesota to say, hey, here's Julius Randle for Kevin Love?
Those two straight up,
Minnesota
sure.
hangs up on you immediately.
And so, but you have to offer. What do you offer? Another first-round pick in the future?
Yeah.
What else has to go?
Over the Caps, you got to match money. That's
So you
gonna get
have
messy.
you can do Jeff Green and the Paul Pierce trade exception, and that would cover it.
Does that expire, that trade exception? I don't know.
It
If you're
expires
giving-
July 14th, so they can use
Okay.
it. Yeah.
If you're giving up your top first round pick, and then you give up Sellinger, and you got to make the contracts match, I don't think you need another. You might need another. Yeah, you probably need another first round pick. It's a lot. Kevin Love, it's a top 10 player in the NBA.
Yeah.
But is he a guy that you can win a championship with? They didn't make the playoffs this year in Minnesota.
Well, I mean, if you
They
have...
didn't make the playoffs this year.
I know that. But
Well, they would have made the playoffs in the East.
But that doesn't mean anything.
Silver linings.
it's an awful cast around Kevin Love.
It's a bad
Ricky
cast.
Rubio is your second best player, and he's one of the worst shooters in NBA history.
Right.
Like, I mean, it's not a good cast built around Love. And
You can get Love and keep Rondo, and then, like I said, start adding guys like a Humphreys, or and you keep Olynyk and you free agent. Then you've got something, and you build towards that.
Yeah.
You don't need Julius Randle. You don't. You just don't.
And you're in a market like Boston where, people demand winning and they demand it now. And drafting a guy like Randall and building for the next 3-4 years that's not how fans around here want to do it.
Right.
They want to get Love the same way they got Garnett 7 years ago and just build it right now. So, I mean, you got to consider, what the market demands in terms of, you got a big TV contract and 18,000 fans in the building. There's a lot of reasons that you want to win right now. And so there's that pressure on Danny Ainge, and he knows that. He talked about it tonight, in fact.
All right, well, there's a lot of reasons to watch Part 3, and 2 of them are boxing out and Ball of the Night.
Like 2.
Puns are terrible, and this show's great. So tune in to Part 3 of the Garden Report, Celtics Block, and CLNS Radio.
Do you think you've established yourself really in this league that you feel like you're the kind of person that should be really built around and be the person that the team goes to have that kind of input?
Everybody's different. Every team is different. I wouldn't mind being that guy. I've been that guy in the past couple of years. When we needed guys to recruit or call guys on the phone, I've always did that as well. So this isn't new. For me being the only guy here, maybe with the the most years or the biggest name or whatever. But back when Kevin Paul and other guys were here, it's still no different. I still think was involved. Some of those days I was. I'm in trade talk myself, but for the most part, Danny has always been in great communication with me. He's told me what he has in plans, what he has in store for this team and myself. But yeah, I think we finished the season with 10 guys, so hopefully we can get 5 more guys. A strong 15 group of guys.
I mean, big changes in terms of a big name guy coming in.
Who knows? I just want a guy that competes, buys into the system and plays for the team.
You're the captain.